is. There's more and more event in less and less time than ever before. And it's going to keep on accelerating. And keep on accelerating. You want to have a very personal experience of how much change there is between here and here? You want to know? Because all of you have a very direct experience of how much consciousness shift there is between one of these days and the next night, or then that night and the next day. Every one of you were born during this period, during the end of this planetary cycle, when things were changing once every 19.7 years. You were born to a couple of really nice people called your parents. And up until you were 13, 15 years old, everything was going along just fine. Then you started noticing something. And you know, those people who claimed that they were your parents, those embarrassments that like loaded you up in the car and took you places, remember that? That difference of point of view, you knew for sure, and whether you did it politely or not so politely, you knew for sure that you were more capable of handling situations and new information than your parents ever could or ever would. This was called the generation gap when people were talking about that sort of thing. And studies were done all over about how long the generation gap was, and they came out with the idea that it was 20 years long. There. That's how much consciousness shift there is between one of these days and one of those nights. What used to happen in 19.7 years, the amount of change that happened in 19.7 years now happens every 360 days. Does that answer a couple of questions? Of why you feel a little overwhelmed from time to time? Get used to it. Or get over it. We are the Prozac nation. This is why we're going to talk in depth about that. The reason I said either get used to it or get over it is because here, what used to take almost a year, the same amount of change will be happening every 20 days. You guys, some of you out there are the age where you would have gone to school for a career. You know, invested years of your life toward a particular career. Maybe you're on your third. By the time we get up into here, forget about it. Not that far away at all. This is a real situation. And this is really why we have these talks. Because without an understanding, without some plausible understanding of what it is that is happening not just to you, but to everybody, it's really difficult to handle it. And the more people do understand, and the more in depth you understand, the easier it's going to be to go through these transitions. You see, there's two things that are going on here. And then I'm going to go into some more detail, a little bit more detail. There's the good things and there's bad things. The bad is that you were getting overwhelmed. The good is that there's more and more possible to occur all the time. Things that were completely impossible, miracles, things that would never happen back here, now are your daily life, like cell phones, for instance. Video phones, that kind of thing. So I want to take and show you that this process, it's like a constant acceleration. I mean, a constant from here all the way through it accelerates. And then it starts accelerating from here and it goes in faster and faster and faster. But each time it's 20 times faster. What happens is, imagine you're in a big semi-truck, sitting still in a parking lot. When you take off, you're going to take off in first gear, right? And you're going to go faster and faster and faster and faster until you're getting going as fast as you can in that gear. Then what do? You put in the clutch. That's this point right here. You put in the clutch, you reach for another gear, you let out the clutch, and you accelerate into that next gear.